Emergency! Marty is microwaving fish in the break room again. Okay, now that may be more of an HR emergency and not the kind of emergency we're talking about today. Welcome back to Beyond the Dial Tone. I'm Nate Raper. Now, all joking aside, let's talk a little bit about emergency services for your phone system. Now, every country has some requirement for emergency calling, whether it's 911 in the US, 999 in the UK, or even 119 in Japan. Now, if you've worked with phone systems, you know the US has particularly detailed requirements around dialing patterns, dispatchable locations, and even the notifications that occur. Now, most phone systems rely on some third-party add-on to meet those requirements, and it's an extra cost. And you know it's coming? Zoom Phone includes these at no extra charge. Now, as we dig into how Zoom Phone delivers these nomadic emergency services, you want to think about locations in two separate buckets. First is known locations, like your company office, any buildings you own, maybe a warehouse, or even an entire campus. The second is unknown locations. That would be like their coffee shop, maybe another company office you're visiting, and even Aunt Martha's house when you're there for Thanksgiving. Now, Zoom uses network information to identify exactly where the user is at, giving the emergency responders a specific dispatchable location that goes beyond just an address. You could include a floor number, maybe a section of the floor, or even specific offices. Now, for those known locations, it requires the Zoom Phone admin to build out the location via the admin web portal. You map those network details to those locations and create call queues for emergency alerts. For unknown locations, the end user will be entering the address, which is saved as the personal location, and they can pull those up in the future. Now, when you call 911 or 933, which is Zoom's test number, Zoom matches your location first based on the switch MAC ID, or LLDP, Link Level Discovery Protocol. Next is followed BSSID for any access points you may have. Then a public and private IP address pairing. Those can be subnets as well. Then comes just the public IP if you need to. And then if none of those match at all, it will use either the user or the site's default emergency address. Now, when the call is placed, emergency services will now get that extra detailed dispatchable location, and the internal safety team will get notifications. We'll show you how to do that here shortly. So let's go ahead and dive into the config. We'll look at our fictional company, BTDT. 10 points if you can guess what that stands for. Now, BTDT has two small offices, one in Denver and one in Portland. So just a reminder that when we build a Zoom Phone site, you add a default emergency address, and you can see we added the 5th floor in address line 2, which is where you put that extra dispatchable location information. Okay, let's build a call queue for the Portland office for the emergency notifications. This is called the Internal Safety Response Team, or ISRT. We'll create a call queue in Portland, add a few extra details here. Then we'll add some users, and let's go ahead and filter for the Portland office. You'll see we just have 2 users here. Let's just add Preethi and hit OK. So navigating to company info and Portland, we'll click on the emergency services tab, and you can see by default the route emergency calls to the PSAP is enabled. Now, for extension-only users, let's create a temporary number pool, which will allow a mapping of that number to an extension-only user for up to 2 hours, so emergency services can call back. Let's go ahead, and we're just going to add 2 numbers to that pool for now. Now we can turn on the ability to also route that call to that internal safety response team, or ISRT call queue we just created. This will route it to the PSAP and ISRT simultaneously. So we'll select the call queue. We are going to hit disconnect at the end. That's just that internal leg. It won't actually disconnect the call with the PSAP there. Now we're going to turn on Nomadic Emergency Services, which is really the key magic that allows a user to move from one area to another, and Zoom will know their location when they call 911. We're going to turn on Personal Locations. That's for those unknown spots, and Automatic Location Sharing for Windows. Now let's add a more specific location for the Portland office. Now we're going to add just one for this demo, but you could add as many as you need in your environment. You can see the default address is already there. So let's hit add. Use the same address, but we'll add northeast corner as a more specific location. We now need to map network information to that new address we just added. Now this is done in the location section. We'll hit manage and add location. Name it, choose the new address we just created, and let's enter our IPs and a BSSID that maps to the wiring closet that covers that northeast corner. Now I'm going to go ahead and blur the IPs to keep that piece a little bit more private. Okay, now here we have our two clients with Lucas on the left, Preethi on the right. And if we look at Lucas's client settings under phone, you'll notice his address is correctly identified as 5th floor northeast corner from that IP match. Now let's go ahead and call the test 933 emergency number. And you'll first of all see his address is showing correctly. And Preethi gets the alert because she's a member of that internal safety response team with the address. And she has the ability to barge, add people to the call if she needs to create a conference call, and generally can be a part of that emergency call while Lucas is making it. Now you can see under Preethi's call history that she has the 933 call with the correct address. And if you go to Lucas's call history, you can also see he has that 933 call with the address. One additional way to get notifications is using the emergency notification app for Zoom chat. In here, you can see I get an alert that's specific with the address and the user and the time. And then if you have Zoom digital signage, I can also use the send alert to add a text and then identify which, country or building or even floor that I want to send that alert to. Now let me quickly show you how it works if I am traveling somewhere else. Maybe I'm in a coffee shop or I'm at that other company's office and Zoom doesn't know where we are at. You'll get this alert message that pops up with the little red arrow. You have the opportunity to confirm if you are. In this case, it thinks I'm in the business office, the work office. Otherwise, I can hit wrong, update it. And if it's a common place I go to, like that same coffee shop, it'll appear in this list. Otherwise, I can add a new address and then it captures this address with the specific public and private IP address so it knows where I'm at. Now the last component I want to show you is the call logs. So if you go into the logs section in here, you'll be able to see both the call to the emergency services as well as the internal safety response team. So I'm going to go ahead and quickly pull up the call path and you'll see the call. Then under details is where you can actually find out how it matched that address. So this is critical if you're ever doing troubleshooting or looking at what happened when something was identified. These call logs are key. And there you have it. Zoom's Nomadic Emergency Services identifies detailed locations, whether users are at the office or working remotely. We covered dispatchable locations, network-based matching, and even those ISRT notifications. And the best part about all of this, everything we showed today is included with any Zoom Phone paid license, no extra charges. So hopefully this gives you a good basis for understanding the tools that Zoom Phone provides to help you handle emergency services and keep your team safe, no matter where they're working from. Thank you all so much for your time. I'm Nate Raper with Beyond the Dial Tone. These are my personal thoughts and not sponsored by Zoom. Have a wonderful day.